Today, Latino Marin has a special opportunity to interview Tom McCallister. He's a candidate for the Superior Court judge. Welcome, Tom, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Let's get started with a little bit of educational information. Can you tell us a little bit about the Marin County court system?
Yeah, so the Marin County Superior Court is a system that hears all sorts of different cases. They hear criminal cases, they hear civil cases, they hear family law cases, probate cases, traffic cases. And all of the judges are equal. There's 12 of them, and they can hear any of those cases. But typically what happens is a judge will go into a rotation within the system so that they serve as a criminal judge for a while, or a civil judge for a while, or a probate judge, or a juvenile justice judge.
Mm-hmm. What relevant experience do you have?
Well, I would say that I have more experience than any other candidate in the field, and that's by a long shot too. I have significant, extensive, high-level civil litigation experience in a variety of areas of civil law, including maritime law, employment law, securities arbitration, complex tort litigation, and trial experience in that field as well. And then not only that, in that experience, I also represented both plaintiffs and defendants. So I understand both sides of civil law. And then I've also served in Marin County for about 15 years as a deputy district attorney, prosecuting cases in our community and protecting our citizens. I've served in many, many different capacities within that position as well. For instance, I've served in the felony trial divisions, prosecuting violent crimes. I've served in the domestic violence unit, protecting women who have been abused. I've protected children. I've protected our environment. I've served in the insurance fraud unit. Our office recognized that I have a unique skill set with the prior civil litigation experience. And so I've rotated into the insurance fraud unit, where I work with and against insurance companies. I've prosecuted workers' compensation fraud cases, automobile insurance fraud cases, life and annuity insurance cases against the elderly, financial elder abuse, real estate fraud cases, all manner of cases within that office. So the breadth of my experience is extensive on both sides. And even back when I was in civil law, I did some criminal defense work and some high-end financial defense work for muni bonds and also real estate disputes. So I've had experience on both sides, plaintiff and defendant, in both civil and criminal litigation for a very long career too. So that's what sets me apart from the other candidates in the field. And that's why I think all of the judges that are endorsing me, because they recognize that I have extensive experience and qualifications that allows me to join their team of 12 judges and do all the work that comes into the courts.
Can you tell us a little bit about your educational background?
Sure. So I grew up in Kansas, and I actually went to a grade school called Prairie School, and lived there with my family until I graduated from high school. And I went to Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, and had a fantastic academic experience there. Then I moved to San Francisco to attend law school, which I completed in 2.5 years, and dedicated a lot of that experience to working at the San Francisco District Attorney's Office as a certified law student. And then after that, after graduating from law school, I've continued, as many lawyers do, with continuing legal education, but have since worked in civil law and criminal law as an attorney.
Have you served on any local boards and commissions?
I have, as a matter of fact. I've dedicated a huge amount of time and energy to youth sports programs. I've served as a coach in many different sports, football, softball, baseball, basketball. And then in connection with that, I've also served on youth sports boards. I served as vice president of the Central Marin Chargers, and I'm currently serving as co-president of the Swim Marin Swim League. It's a swim team here in Marin, one of the 10 in the county. And both of those are right here in San Rafael. And so many of your viewers, and I know that this is intended to reach the Latino community, will remember me because with both of those organizations, the Chargers and then with Swim Marin, we've actively reached out to not just the Latino community, but all communities to make sure that kids had access to these programs. And not just saying, hey, you can come and sign up, we're here, but actively going out and offering scholarships to make sure that disadvantaged youths, economically disadvantaged, could come and join the program. And I was glad to hear in your introduction that you're focused on integration of the communities with the larger community. And I know you also celebrate the cultural heritage, but focusing on integration is critical for our community to move forward and our whole world to move forward. And I've done that. I really think it's important. Sports gives a very unique opportunity for kids to integrate in a team environment where they rely on each other regardless of background. And we have actively pursued many kids throughout the community with scholarships in order to welcome them to these other little communities like Swim Marin and like the Chargers. So that may be important to your listeners to know.
Mm-hmm. The Latino community is all about the family and extended family. Can you share a little information about your family?
Yes. I am happily married for 22 years. I have 4 kids. I grew up in Kansas, as I said. I have relatives throughout the nation. And we have a diverse family as well. Many different ethnic backgrounds in our family. I was always inspired as a young kid by my uncle who lives in Minnesota, who had a biological child and then adopted many different children from many different countries thereafter. And so that inspired me. And when I was a junior in high school, I remember lobbying my family to welcome a foreign exchange student into our home. Mm-hmm. I had seen that we had a foreign exchange student in our high school before when I was a sophomore, who actually stayed with us for a little bit. And so my parents and I decided that we would have somebody come and stay with us for my junior year. And we welcomed a man named Esteban Pop from Argentina. And he came and lived with us. And he was inspired by the fact that my dad was a physician and 2 of my older brothers were becoming physicians. And he went on to graduate from high school in Kansas and then went on to medical school, and he became a renowned plastic surgeon who developed this worldwide organization to go and help people who have cleft palates and hand injuries and burns but can't afford that type of surgery. So that, I think, is a reflection of my family and the fact that we embrace all people from all different backgrounds, not just specific backgrounds, but all. And that's transferred into my own personal life as a parent. I have I have an adult child now who's in college. I've got a junior in high school, and I've got an 11-year-old who's in grade school. And those are all biological children. We also adopted a child from a Russian orphanage when she was 1, and she's 13 now, and can't imagine life without her. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what more you can say to demonstrate that you're committed to people from other backgrounds than that you open your family and your life to other people.
Do you have any endorsements?
I do, and I'm proud to say that they're many and varied. But probably most importantly, because these judicial elections are difficult for the voters to decide because they really don't know the people involved in the races typically. And usually what happens is you get a kind of the ballot statements in the ballot, and you kind of look at those and you try to decide from there, or you defer to other people who may be lawyers, or often they just don't vote at all because they don't feel like they have enough information. So I'm glad you're doing this program where they can kind of get to know you better. But they will see on my voter statement that of the 11 judges who will still be there after Judge DeOpel retires, 6 of them support me and endorse me, which tells the voters that those judges who already have the job, who already know what the job is about, and those judges who have seen me practice law in their courts, those judges are saying, that's the person that we think is most qualified. That's the person that we want on our team. And it's a small team, it's only 12 people. And that's the person that we think can do this job the best. And so I think that the voters should listen to that. And some of the other endorsements that I have are from community leaders and a diverse group of people who lead our communities beyond San Rafael. Some of the town council members, probation officers, police associations, lawyers, all manner of people also endorse me.
What professional organizations are you a member of?
Well, like a lot of lawyers, I'm a member of the California State Bar and the Marin County Bar Association, and I'm also a member of the Marin County Prosecutors Association, which is a group in our office. But most of my time has been devoted to these organizations that serve youth, these sports programs that I'm heavily involved in, serving as a coach and as a board member. And then I also coach mock trial, which takes up a huge amount of time and energy, and it's devoted to, it's a difficult task, I must say, because you're basically teaching high school students who have not been to college and have not been to law school how to be a lawyer. And it's a fun challenge that I really enjoy. And one of the judges who is endorsing me, Beverly Wood, she and I have coached a team together for 4 years, and she recognizes my commitment to volunteerism and to the kids and to giving them these life skills that will carry through even if they're not lawyers. I don't really care if they're lawyers or not. I just want them to be able to speak in public and to have good, critical, analytical thinking.
What are 2 key things that voters should look at when they look at selecting a judge?
Well, I think qualifications are key, and we went through that. I have an extensive, long career in the law that's varied and high level and involves trial experience, both civil and criminal. And also the other thing is the endorsements are something that people really should pay attention to, because the judges who already are working in the courts, who have seen me practice law, as I said before, they understand and believe that I have the qualifications, the temperament, the integrity, the diligence, and they believe that I would serve best all of Marin as the next judge.
And why should voters care about this election?
Well, hopefully they don't have to be in the court system, but lots of people do, or their family members do. And then even if they're not, we need a court system that's fair and compassionate to everybody. And I think that I could tell you all day that I'm compassionate and fair, but if people go to my website, they will see people who can give testimonials that I've been this way my whole life, and that even in my work as a prosecutor, where I have a job to be an advocate for the people of the state of California, that I'm fair to everybody, and that I really bear in mind, have we honored the Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, Eighth Amendment rights of the criminal defendants that come into the system? And then not only that, but the judges, there's only 12 of them. They go on vacation, they get sick, they get overworked and they need to ask somebody else to cover a case for them from time to time. They need a judge that they can rely on, that has experience in all of these areas, that can pick up a case and do it and not have to learn on the job. And that's me.
What additional information would you like voters to know about you?
Like I said, I am committed to integrating our society, broader than just the Latino community, but all sectors of our community. And I think you need a judge that is like that is not wedded to a certain agenda or wedded to a certain sector of our society, but somebody that supports everybody and is fair. And I think that that is me. I've had a breadth of experience that's exposed me to many different people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds. And I think that you will see when you visit the website that there are people from all different backgrounds that support me, not because I'm running for judge, but because I've been involved in their lives and have supported them at times when they needed it.
Why should voters vote for you?
Well, again, I do have the background and experience that far surpasses any other candidate in the field. There are some that have only worked in criminal law, some that have only worked in civil law. I'm the only one with the breadth of experience that matters. I can run a civil calendar, which is important. I've practiced in family law. I've been exposed to the juvenile justice system. I've practiced criminal law for a long time. So I can do all of these things. And again, the support that I have tells the voters that I'm the right selection in this judicial campaign.
Mm-hmm. And how can you best serve the Latino community here in Marin County?
From the bench?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think just by being fair and impartial, and I've always been that way. A lot of people don't understand what really happens in the DA's office, but a lot of the justice that is accomplished in our community, in the criminal justice system, happens in our office, not in the courts. We get cases in from the police, and we screen them and decide whether to charge cases or not. It's that screening process that's key. A lot of cases we don't pursue with charges, or we look at to see whether or not anybody's rights have been violated, or whether or not we think we can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think that if you talk to some of the criminal defense attorneys, you would learn from them that regardless of the size of the case or who is the defendant, I'm always thorough, I'm always diligent, and I'm always looking for what the right answer is. And even if that means we're dismissing the case because we can't prove it. So I think that that's really what the Latino community should focus on, which is not what they can do for me, but what they can do for everybody. And are they fair to everybody? Because I've always argued in my closing arguments that ultimately we need the system to be fair. And fairness means looking at what happened and what the law is and applying it evenly. Because when you start focusing on whether or not somebody's from a certain group or any other label that you could put on them, that's when the system becomes unfair. And so I've always really tried to maintain a focus on fairness and justice for everyone.
How can voters contact you?
Well, I have a website, and it's Tom McCallister. It's 2 C's and 2 L's is the way I always explain it. Tom, McCallister.com. And then we also have a Facebook page. Lots of people know how to access those online, and they can get there easily. And I hope that you'll be able to post it afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. And make sure and visit our Facebook page and like us as well, Latino Marin. And we're also on Twitter, Latino Marin 360.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for joining us today. And you've done a wonderful service by agreeing just to this interview. It provides voters so much more information.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And information that you shouldn't be aware of, the last day to register to vote is May 23rd. On behalf of Latino Marin, I'll say good night.
Latino Marin weaves the Latino experience into the fabric of Marin County. We are advocating and educating our Latino community. We're also donating laptops to students. Our goal for next year is to donate 500 computers. If you have a gently used laptop with a newer operating system, please contact Latino Marin at latinomarin360@gmail.com. We also have a sister website called Voto Marin. You'll find PowerPoint presentations, what's on your ballot, dedicated information about Latinos voting in the United States, California, and Marin County. Thank you very much for joining us, and please visit our website, latinomarin.org, votomarin.org. Follow our Twitter feed at latinomarin360.